friends, to the Relevant Roundtable, where we meet every third Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we have with us at the roundtable Leon Walker. This is like part two for us, so get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for a very, very good understanding of NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. And tonight we are going to be talking about from sensuality to silent suffering. Leon, I'm once again throwing the baton to you, friend.
Hey Tony, thanks for having me. How you doing today?
I'm great, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. So why don't you lead us? We're going to talk about the silent suffering, but why don't you lead us on a journey, so to speak, of your days in the military and some of the attributes that you saw in yourself as a narcissist in the military?
Some of the attributes I saw in myself with my narcissistic personality disorder were, and this was an ability, my ability to not express myself. And a lot of men don't express themselves because of their childhood, and they won't tell you that. When my uncle used to put his hands in my pants, he used to always tell me to be quiet. And my cousins, when they used to kiss me, they used to tell me to be quiet. I think that grew into my lack of empathy where I started to not care, right? So my thing was if my uncle can touch me and tell me to be quiet and my cousins can molest me and tell me to be quiet, who else gonna do that to me? So I started developing anger issues. And that attributed to flying off the handle, my aggressive behavior, having blow-ups, not wanting to talk, not wanting to communicate. But one of the biggest things, and this is not really graphic, but all of my exes used to ask me why I was quiet during sex. And I had this fear in me that I didn't really know why I had the fear until I went to therapy at 47. So the problem with men and women too, but we're talking men, especially black men, they don't want to go through therapy. And I'm bouncing around a little bit, but they don't want to go into therapy because they're afraid of what they have to, their recollection, what they have to maybe recite and go over and talk about and unearth. I was terrified. So a lot of everything that happened to me in my childhood from neglect and abuse is why I became who I became, a narcissist, right? And then you develop this sense of survival to make it by any means necessary, which means I excluded people, right? Which means I learned how to discard. I learned how to walk away. I learned how to be emotionally detached. I learned how to be in this flight or fight mode, which I knew none of this, Tony. Don't get me wrong, I felt these things. I felt these problems, but I didn't know what they were called. And so I was like, okay, this is life, this is me, right? And then I'm starting to date. And then what really triggered me when I was 15 is that I started liking to make women cry, young ladies cry. And it felt so odd, but it felt safe. So I said, if I can make her cry, she can't make me cry. If I can control her emotions, then I can push her away and then pull her back in. So you hear all these terms, push, pull, emotionally detached, discard, love bombing. I was doing those things when I was 15. One of my psychologist friends said narcissism actually starts around 18 months, the developing stages and mommy and milk and crying and I need you and all that. We see it as being parents and nurturing. And then it grows. And then people like me, then you get molested at 5. Then you watching porn at 7. Then you lose your virginity at 8. And then your uncle's touching you between 10 and 12. I wasn't going to come an empath. I wasn't going to be a nice person. Ultimately, I was going to be who I am now and how I got what I got diagnosed with, narcissistic personality disorder. So everything attributed to my dysfunctional adulthood because I was a dysfunctional kid. And I think it was my psychotherapist, she said I should have been in therapy when I was 6 years old. And then I joined the Navy. Didn't think I was smart enough to join because I was always thinking about something. When things happen to a young man or woman in their childhood, they're always thinking about it. So we talk about narcissistic people triggering people. I have triggers all the time. all I could do was suppress my triggers. Like if I'm in a relationship with a woman and she grabs me, Leon, give me a kiss. I hated that because my cousins used to, come here, give me a kiss, right? And so I had triggers, but I didn't know until I started talking about what happened. Well, Mr. Walker, today we're going to talk about what happened to you in your childhood. And I was like, I don't know. Oh, no. I was like, I don't know. We're not. Yeah, we are. Okay. So then I talk about it. Then when I talk about it, I'm like, how did I just go through life and be very successful in the military? Suppressing my emotions. A lot of men suppress, don't talk, hide things. So a lot of that attributed to everything from my childhood, attributed to how I was emotionally attached as an adult. Didn't want to talk, didn't want to express myself, couldn't say I love you. Oh no. Love to me was very terrifying because once my mom left me, I felt like any woman would leave me eventually. And then being a cheater, once women find out you cheat, most of them leave, some of them stay. But I telling you I loved you, couldn't do it. I needed to hear that you loved me. My trust factor was very low with people, not just women, but with people. So what happened to me in childhood, I carried it forward.
So, if you don't mind, I just want to go back to your sexual experience, right? Because you brought that up. So, I just want to circle back there. At any given time, whether it was in your young adulthood or, past that time frame, right? As a full-blown seasoned man, did you ever find yourself during those quiet times during sexual encounters that you would have visions of your relatives that had violated you?
That's a great question. The visions that I had a lot of when I was sexually involved with the woman were the visions that I saw in porn. So I started watching porn at 7. And everything I saw in porn, I mean, I'm talking hours, Tony, hours of porn at 7 years old. So I was at the second grade, somewhere in there,
Yeah.
hours and hours of porn. And so I wanted to emulate what I saw in porn with the ladies later on in life. I never lost those visions of porn when I got older. They just didn't go away. They were there. So I'm gonna talk about two different instances. When I joined the Navy, I wanted to immediately go find and have sex with a white woman because of the porn. Because I saw how submissive they were, and I saw how a man could leave marks on her. Right? She would turn red or purple, whatever. It wasn't the violence. It was just the change or how I can make her like me more through intercourse. And so I said, oh, if I can do those things, they'll like me like these men in porn. They'll like me too. But what happened was the porn, those were older women, and I was a little boy. So check this out. I saw full-figured women. And so I started liking older women because of the porn. And girls my age couldn't do anything with me because I was always trying to do, let's do this, let's do that. And they were like, Leon, where'd you learn this at? And what's wrong with you? And then, you join the Navy and you meet all these freaks in the military. And it's like, I was like, that was wonderful to me. That was heaven. I wasn't in the military to go to school or visit the Christian Science reading room. It was like, hey, Leon, you want to go climb Mount Fuji? I was like, no, but I want to go Mount Her. And so everything I saw in porn, when I started having sex with women at a very early age, I wanted to emulate that man that was in that movie because I saw how the women reacted to him. So I'm like, I want them to react to me that way. And I wasn't thinking of, so this was the selfish part of a narcissist. I wasn't thinking about her. I was thinking about controlling her mind and wanting her to know that I knew more about her body than she knew about her own body. So I was exploring women. I was studying women and I was like 12, 9, 8, 10, 11, and it just didn't stop. But the other visits I had was my cousins. Every time I'm kissing women and they go, get sensual, you're touching it. When they did this, I lost it because I didn't know how to process that my abuse. That was abuse. And so in therapy, I was telling her the story like I'm telling you, because she asked me similar questions and I was scared. She said, once I told her that, I was like, yeah, I was born and I like these older women and I was attracted to white women. I was attracted to heavy set black women. I was attracted to little Asian women. And she said, "Do you realize you were abused?" I didn't know. I didn't know. When a man is abused as a child, he doesn't see abusing his woman when he gets early. I didn't know that I was abusing my girlfriends. It wasn't physical, but it was verbal and it was mental abuse. And then it was like, well, we don't have sex. I'm going to get it from somewhere else. I was breaking women's hearts. I was telling them things. I would say that. They go, okay. I'm like, no, this don't feel right. It's not right. Then I was like, no, 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 no. I want to make you happy. I want to be there for you. But then I didn't want them to be there for me like that. I just wanted one thing, right? And so I learned how to discard women if I didn't get my way. Selfish. Narcissists are very selfish. So I tell women now, if you really want a man to show you who he really is, start denying him his addictions. It'll show. If a woman denied me sex, I'm not taking it. I'm not doing that. But at that moment, my personality changed, shifted. I went into a rage, or I got silent, or I went to go cheat. Because my addictions had to be satisfied. My demons had to be satisfied. So sexually, I was always envisioning, I was either scared, I'm like, I hope she don't grab my face because I'm going to freak out, or I need to have her because she's pale. I need to have her because she's a, thicker Black woman, right? So everything I saw at 7, I wanted when I joined the Navy.
In the military, you're taught discipline. Is that correct?
You are taught discipline, yes.
Okay. So
At work.
at work,
Right.
Those fundamental lessons didn't transcend to help you with your addictions.
No, Tony, I didn't want help with my addictions. The fundamental lessons were for work only. I could separate myself from that. Fundamentally sound at work, and I tell people this, I was the greatest sailor ever created. When I joined the Navy in the 80s, it was work hard, play hard. The harder you worked, the harder you drank, the more you drank, the harder you played. The more women you had, the more popular you were. Discipline and fundamentals stayed at work. After that, I was like an international whore. And I was happy about that. So back then, womanizing was the thing. Fighting was the thing. Drinking liquor was the thing. Cheating was looked up at, upon. You looked up to men that had a bunch of women. What's up, player? Leon, you got all of these. I was like, yeah, yeah. I didn't have any morals. When people try to talk to me about morals, I was like, man, hell on with that. I don't want to hear about morals. But discipline, I had discipline, I had structure. I didn't have sexual discipline. None of us did. It was like an unknown thing. We pull into the Philippine Islands, or Australia, or Singapore, Thailand, or Hong Kong. We were 18, 19 years old with $2,000, $3,000 in our pocket. Nobody was investing. Maybe one white guy invested, and he went to the Christian Science reading room, went to go play his banjo while we were playing these girls' banjo, you know what I'm saying? And that went on, Tony, for years. I would proudly spread myself all over the world. Thank God I never got anything. At 16, I had gonorrhea from a woman that I was sleeping with, 15, 16, went to Navy, came back, sleep with her, went to Navy, came back. Over the next 20 years, every time I see her, we had sex. And she had narcissistic ways too, because I wasn't the only person she would sleep with, obviously. Right. But when I wasn't practicing safe sex at 16 and I got gonorrhea, I went to the free clinic on my own, got 2 shots and 10 pills. And within a week, I was cleared, and I didn't practice safe sex. That didn't teach me a lesson. It hurt. Having a disease, a venereal disease, what they call it back then, venereal disease, was very painful. But it wasn't so painful that it caused me to have discipline sexually. I didn't have discipline sexually. And to be honest, I want women to know that I could probably have hundreds of kids. And I know that sounds gross, it's nasty, it's disgusting, but I've always been gross, nasty, and disgusting. Not anymore. God saved me, my ex-girlfriend saved me. My God has always took care of me. But I was around people that got herpes and AIDS in the Navy. It was like regular people every day. I worked with them. Didn't even scare me, but it made me go, hmm. But narcissistic people sexually want to impress you by any means necessary. So they're going to put your mouth on your entire body. I know because I've done it. Strangers. I know that sounds sick, but when you are lustful and you have a sexual demon within you, Tony, if you don't get help, if you don't stay up in church, which I didn't get help, I didn't stay in church, I didn't get therapy, you are going to hurt a lot of women. You're going to sleep with a lot of women. You can put your mouth on a lot of women. You could possibly have a lot of kids. You could be broke by paying child support. I paid $2,000 a month for child support for 14, 15 years. Every time I got a pay raise in the Navy, it went to child support. Because when I was engaged, I started cheating and a woman got pregnant. So I had two women pregnant at the same time. Tony, I was a very, very sick man. And if men don't admit to it, if they hide it, it goes nowhere. So I'd rather say, you know what, I was sick. I was practicing unsafe sex and I had sex with a lot of women. I need help. I wanted to go to Sex Anonymous. I wanted help, but at the same time, I didn't want help because of the porn I saw. This stayed with me for years, and the more I watched it, the worse it got. And then on a Navy ship out to sea, there was plenty of porn to watch.
So I would imagine you say you wanted help, but you didn't want help. And I think I can visualize that. So I would imagine that that wanting help was internally, um, but the not wanting help was the external piece.
It was a little bit of both. It kind of crossed both because internally, I did want help, but internally, I didn't want help because I wanted that feeling that I had from my babysitter taking my virginity. At 8 years old, she used to pick me up and make me lay on her and have sex. And I felt her body. I wanted to feel a woman's body for the rest of my life. That. So internally, I want to help, but internally, I was in love with my babysitter. I was 8. I think she was 14. So she made me overconfident, arrogant, and cocky. I'm not blaming her. But you think I'm gonna tell a woman that's older than me, no, 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 I don't want to. Like that was a badge of honor for my babysitter to want to like little Leon, by little baby, little penis. What could she do with that? But you know what? It was about me. Come here, Leon. Here, lay on top of me. Right? I know this sounds graphic, but that's what happened.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, oh, she likes me. If I can get her, I can get all these other little girls my age. Then I started getting taller. Then I had muscles. Then I had wavy hair. Then I joined the Navy. That made me an international whore. And I hate to keep repeating it, but that's what happened.
Did you ever feel, as you were traveling through the Navy, really dealing with all these women and really unemotionally attached,
Yes.
right? To all these different women, did you ever feel like you lost Leon?
Yeah, Leon was gone, been gone. I became the devil. And my friend's father used to call me, my mother called me, my nickname is Double O. And he used to call me Diablo. I didn't know what it meant. So one day I was like, what does that mean? He was like, little devil. I was like, I kind of liked it. So I was already dysfunctional at 6 years old. It was over. Back then, that was 1971. Nobody's thinking about therapy. My parents were fighting, having sex, you know, all that stuff was going on. Nobody's thinking about sending Leon to therapy. So I'm like, I embraced it. So then you tell me I get older, I'm supposed to change. That's why they say it's so hard for narcissists to change, and they never change. That's not true. It's the behavior. But Tony, I enjoyed my behavior. As demonic and as ugly, as dysfunctional as it was, I felt good because I can get girls, I can discard them, I can lie to them. They like me. I made them cry. It turned me on. They had sex with me while crying. You think I want to change that? And so that's why people say they can never change. They won't change. Some will never go to therapy to change. I didn't volunteer to go to therapy. They made me go. If I didn't go to therapy in 2014, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on this earth. I know that for a fact because I could not stop my dysfunctional ways. I couldn't stop. I couldn't separate myself from the lust. There's different types of lust. I think there's 11 types of lust. You have all types. I had many of them. And to top it off, I was still functioning and I was still getting promoted and I was still getting awarded and rewarded and I was making money. People say, do you think you need to, you ever going to change? I was like, change for what? And this is what you hear people say, ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing, why should I change? Then I started calling other women names and not narcissists, but you're this and you're that. It ain't me. You're dysfunctional. You got the problem. My ex-wife used to say I was dysfunctional all the time. But women never left me, Tony. And I'm not bragging, I'm telling you, they never left. And I talk to women now that have men that are just like me. And they don't leave them. And I know why. I was a very adventurous dude. I was very risky. I was very spontaneous. I would plan things. I knew how to pay attention to a woman. I knew how to motivate a woman to love me. I knew how to motivate a woman to leave me. I knew how to do it all. I was a person that you should not date. But I'm not going to tell you that until I'm tired and ready to discard you. All those demonic ways set natural for me. Abnormal was normal. Normal was abnormal. I didn't want to be normal. Abnormal felt good to me. Abnormal felt right. Abnormal felt successful. Abnormal felt easy. It was hard for me to be faithful and committed. That drove me nuts. So I'm like, look, I'm going to cheat on you. Huh, Leon? Yeah, I just had to do it because I'm like, look, it ain't going to stop. It was like a desire, and this is not me, but I've read books and watched movies, and you have too, about serial killers, right? Serial unalivers. I understand this thirst that they have for going to get something or someone. I had the same thirst, but I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to take anybody away. I didn't care about hurting a woman. Matter of fact, breaking her heart made me feel powerful. But I didn't want to make it to where they weren't on this earth anymore. You know what I'm saying? But I understand the mind of those people that unalive people that they have to see somebody and then they lock on, then they go get them. And then it's like, it was satisfying to me to have a lot of women. Monogamy, that drove me insane. And I got to the point where I didn't care if I got caught cheating. I didn't care. So we talk about this lack of empathy, but people don't know it goes deeper than that.
So let's talk about that. How deep does it run?
I think I know that when I started having these anger flashes. And if I keep going with the angry thoughts, I'll say something to do something. But then, for some reason, God shows me another sign. When I'm angry and I'm thinking about something that I've created in my own mind and I believe it, that's narcissistic. There's no empathy in what's about to happen. None. But every time I get this reminder or something happens or somebody says something, I get a text message, and it's only God. God can only guide me like that because the devil had me for almost my whole adult life. But the lack of empathy, I could be to where I plan on doing something and there's no remorse in that planning. None. I just see what I want to see, and it's because I think they did something to me, or they owe me, or whatever. I look at the end result as hurting them. But the last few years, it's been like I get this vision, I get a clear thought, and I don't engage with that evil thought. So the devil is 24/7. I used to like dancing with the devil. I did, with no remorse of what happened, what's going to happen, who's going to get hurt, because my brain has been conditioned like this. I'm 60 since I was probably 6, so 54 years. But the unconditioning started at 47 years old with a therapist. Doing evil, doing wrong, like I could skip then church and the Bible study and all this stuff and God. I'm like, don't come at me with that God stuff. I would tell women that. Yeah. And they never left me though. You know why? Because women want to work hard on their man. They do. She want to work hard on who I showed her in the beginning, and that wasn't real. That's the love bombing. I could do all of that all day long with any race of women. I've been with every race of women on the earth, so I know what they like. I know what they need, and I'm an international dude. So, but yeah, that lack of empathy, and I know I get it. I know exactly where I get it from. I get it from my mother. I see my father cry. I never seen my mother cry in my entire life, ever. And I learned how not to cry. And I learned when I made other people cry, I felt superior to them.
Let's talk about this, your mother, right? I remember the last time we were here, I believe you made mention, that it started there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was your interaction with women that you were with that reminded you of your mother?
Very good question. There was a reminder for me from my mother when she left me. There was a reminder when she stopped cooking for me. There's a reminder when she stopped praising me for the awards I won. And whenever a woman didn't cook, whenever a woman didn't like the awards I got, whenever a woman wasn't there for me, I immediately wanted to start to abuse them. Mental and verbal. I was never physically abusive, but mental is worse.
Mhm.
But the reminder of like, and if I tell you, you ain't like you're not my mother, I didn't even realize what I was saying because my mother, from age 12 on, was not my mother. So I was telling them, you ain't my mother, like as if I was bragging, like my mother did this. No, my mother was a great lady from the time I was born to 12. It was over. She did her best, but she lost her house. My parents got divorced. My mother couldn't afford it, and she started getting high. It was over. So women that um, would try to discard me, that word hate was in the forefront of my mind and my mouth. I would tell them too. I would get very evil. That's why now I don't want that dude no more. This Leon, I don't want him. I don't. And so I know there's consequences that comes with acting like the other Leon, like I'm speaking in third person. There's another Leon. Don't want nothing to do with him. Before I loved that guy. I was cool. Leon was cool. He was. Now it's like, no. Like I know for a fact when I start dating, I will never ever cheat again. I know. And I'm gonna get back to what I was saying. But when I ask God to help me, when I ask my friends to pray for me, people think, oh, we'll pray for Leon, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, blah, 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 right? But when that prayer comes down, it's some actions to be taken. When that prayer comes down, it's like, okay, Leon, I was almost like, I don't want, don't pray for me. I used to tell women, don't pray for me because I wanted to continue being a bad person. But when that prayer comes down, you got to work with it. You got work to do. If you're sincere, and so I tell you to work for me with asking to not cheat again. I dream about the women that I used to cheat with, and I see them as bad people, as demons. I have sweats at nighttime. It doesn't happen all the time, but now when people talk about cheating, or my friends that I know that are cheating, I'm like, man, what are you doing? And look at me like, who are you talking to? I'm like, I know, bro, I know, but I'm like, man, please don't. And they go do the thing, but I know what they're doing and what they're going through because they're Leons. But when I ask for people to pray for me and ask God to help me stop cheating, which I'm not dating right now, but still, this bad feeling came over me about when I think about how I used to cheat. I don't know how I did. I get sick, Tony. Even now, I'm starting to feel that sickness, and so I'm not going on that. And there are consequences that come with cheating. You get another woman pregnant, which I did while I was engaged, and I got married. And I had two women pregnant at the same time. There are things that happen bad. I had to pay a lot of child support. I neglected my daughter. My daughter's 30 now, but for years I neglected her because I wanted to prove to my wife, I won't see my baby. It ain't my baby. I denied her. But I have to think about my cheating days. So they talk about do narcissists ever get their karma? Mine has been mental. Dreaming about the women I cheated with, getting caught, the arguments, flashbacks. I dream about this stuff now. And it's like, okay, so I know if I were to cheat again, when I start dating somebody, and I know what's gonna happen. I can't do it. I would tell a woman, look, I have a girlfriend. And I'm gonna tell my girlfriend, look, she tried to flirt with me. And it might sound funny, but I'm terrified. So a lot of men that have narcissistic personality disorders have not been scared straight. I've been scared straight. I don't want no smoke. If a woman lies on me about telling my girlfriend, whoever she is going to be, hey, Leon did this, Leon did that, I'm gonna show everything. Text messages, phone calls. Here's the camera. I'm recording myself around the city. Baby, I'm right here. Baby, I'm at CVS. Baby, I'm at Walmart. Baby, I'm at my, no. I will go overboard. I have one of my traits is I'm very overbearing. And so I know what to do to make a woman understand and know and love me and trust me. I'm not cheating no more, Tony. That's over with. And I've never said this before in my life. I've always lustful for women, and I always wanted two, three, four women. And then one time I dated four women, and one time it might have been five. I don't know, but it was a lot. That lack of empathy. I didn't care about getting caught, getting slapped. I've been slapped, had my tooth chipped, cheating, all kind of stuff. Ran off the road. But back to my mom. When a woman didn't have those womanly qualities, I checked out that moment, and I would do things for her mother on purpose to make her mad. Not flirtation, not sexual, nothing, but I would cater to mom and not cater to her. If her mother acted like my mother, I'm like, oh, I love this. Leon, come over, we got some chicken and cabbage and mashed potatoes. I'm like, yeah. And I'm looking at her like, you can't even do this? Oh, it would get real bad, Tony. It would get very bad. And I'd say, Miss Johnson, we're on our way. You want something from the store? You want a pair of shoes? You need a necklace? You need something? And she looked at me like, I'm like, you didn't do that for me? I'm like, yeah, you don't cook. You don't act like, you don't have mommy. So I have a mother wound, right? I wanted, I desired my mother my entire life. And when I was with a woman that couldn't do that, it was over for her. I'm going to hurt her by cheating with a woman that could cook, that would fold and wash my clothes. I could do those things myself, but I need that nurturing. I didn't have it. So I'm super nice and super sweet to your mother. And my ex would be like, well, who is this guy? They would say it all the time. Who is Leon? What? I'm like, yeah, I could be a gentleman. That's another trait to have. That mask I talk about, I could put it on. I'm a gentleman now. Holding hands, cuddling, chivalry, buying gifts, saying yes, ma'am, no. I can wear the mask, but Tony, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I really don't. And I can go back to being this guy just like that, but I know there's consequences. But yeah, if a woman didn't act like what I didn't get from my mother, it was over. Oh, I'm telling you, over. Oh yeah.
So, with being really emotionally detached, right?
Hmm.
I would imagine that there were some women, because you were juggling women, right? At one point.
Yeah.
So I could imagine that there was one woman or some women gave you pressure to do more, to be more, to respond more or better. Um, so how did you handle those women?
What I did with those, that's a really good question. That's when all the manipulation started with them. Then I said, okay, I can do this. I can be that person, right? This is what you want, I'll do it. I didn't like it. I would do it so much that they started believing that that's who I was. But I was doing it for them and not myself. So I would do it so much in a short period of time and so intense that I'm gonna make sure she ain't gonna forget me. I'm gonna make sure that she go, next time she complains, she go, oh, I'm not gonna say them because he is trying. Which I wasn't trying. I wasn't. I just did it because I want her to show that I could do it. And if she told me that her last boyfriend didn't do it, I did it 10 times better than him. Whatever it was. Until I got tired of it. And when I got tired of it, I know she'd go, well, I ain't gonna say nothing because I like Leon. If I start complaining, he gonna shut down. I was really good at shutting down, Tony. Very good. I'm like, well, what you gonna do? You want me to be this person for 3 months and be Leon? No, I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. Well, Leon, you did so great. You were holding hands, we were cuddling. You wrapped your leg on mine. We watched a movie together. You weren't smoking. You came home. That stuff trained me, Tony. It killed me because I was just like too pure. I wasn't a pure dude. I wasn't. It wasn't pure at all. So it didn't resonate with my spirit. I miss being with the devil. So when I'm going to be with God and be with you and do the right thing, okay, here's little Leon. It sucked. I hated it. I hated it. But then I said, okay, this is a trial run here. Leon, you do know how to hold hands. You do. You kissed me on my forehead. You said good morning, and I left a note on the toilet paper. I didn't. That wasn't me. That was the Leon that's gonna love bomb the hell out of you. Now, since you made me uncomfortable, I got to stop this for a little while. It was very childish, Tony. It was. But like I told you earlier, I could get women on the other interview, but I couldn't keep them. I wasn't interested in long-term relationships, but I had three of them because I was selfish and they were pretty women, and I didn't want anybody else to have them. But I knew I was going to mistreat them anyway. I wasted a narcissist will waste a woman's time for sure. They're going to act like they're into it in the beginning, but once they get used to you, they want another shiny object.
Has it ever gotten to a point, or had it gotten to a point, before, you decided to turn, where the women that you could attract at one point in time in your life when you were juggling all these women, being the international whore that you were,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever find that you no longer had what it took from the
Oh,
outside for women?
oh no, that would have been a death sentence. I could not imagine not having what they desire. I could not imagine. Narcissists don't like being rejected. I could not imagine that. So what do? You put yourself around people that used to like you, that could possibly like you again, or you put yourself around women that like certain qualities. And I knew what that was. That wasn't hard. So it starts in the conversation. If I feel like this woman, if I'm older, Leon, whatever the case may be, I'm not as in good shape as I was when I was younger. Whatever the case may be, they like during the conversation. I knew that say for instance, this woman's 40,
Mhm.
and we're talking, and I know what she's like from the conversation. I know exactly what to talk about. Y'all gonna tell me anyway. If you like the conversation, I know how to talk. And we're drinking, and you get another drink, let me get another drink, or you go to the bathroom and you redo your lipstick, and you come out. You interested in some kind of way. Women do that. Y'all go to the bathroom with your girlfriend, y'all chit chat, and come back. Your lip gloss is different, or it's done again, or you put on some more eyeliner, or you tighten your hair up. Whatever you do in the bathroom, and you come back and you order another drink, or oh, I want some more. Let's get some more spinach dip. You're not ready to go, and we're laughing. Based on the conversation, what caused you to come back, or what caused you to keep talking? That's why I'm gonna stay, because there's always interest. Women, y'all know if you're gonna sleep with the guy, if you like a guy, it only take you about 5 minutes, if that. Actually, it takes you less than that. You see him, okay, he's like 5'10". I like him. He's got a beard. I like a beard. Oh, girl, he wears size 12. Look at his hands. Oh, his smile. I like his eyebrows. Within 3 minutes, right? And then now, next thing we got is a conversation. Oh, I got it. What you want? A steak? You want T-bone, ribeye? What? I got it. Baked potato, salad, Caesar salad, whatever. Wine, white wine, red wine. Oh, he's not cheap. He ain't stingy. Y'all checking the dude out, but I'm not gonna get played. Maybe I did one time. I don't know. Didn't care. If I'm dating 4 or 5 women, somebody gonna play me. Somebody gonna be a Leona. But anyway, I never worried about the exterior or interior. I worried about the interior later on because it's like, okay, I don't know how to hug. I don't like hugging. But Leon, you've been hugging me for 3 months. Now you want to hold my hand? So it's gonna change. I'm gonna shift. But certain groups of women nowadays is different. I have women that are 25 years old hit on me. So if I still was that international whore, exterior they see who I am, right? They're gonna like me regardless because I got retirement money, I got this, I'm doing that, I'm on social media. They like the fact that I got some motion, right? Women like a man that's ambitious. and successful, and they like a man that other men respect. I have those things. I don't misuse them though, like I used to. I'm like, I'm going to the club, man. I'm going home with somebody's daughter, type of thing. But exterior, I never worried about that because it came with conversation. And if a woman saw me look and she looked again and I looked at her and she didn't turn away and we talking, she's interested in something. Maybe she just want to use me for a steak dinner. Whatever. I want to use you to show my boys I'm talking to a beautiful woman, successful woman, whatever the case may be. You're a Delta, you're AKA, right? Whatever, right? I wanted a part of that. So all is fair. But I knew within a few minutes, if she didn't leave or walk away, y'all know who y'all want, how far you wanted to go. Nowadays, you just be careful because we're dangerous out here. You don't know who you're getting.
So, speaking of your ability to not be disliked, that's the word that I can think of right now. Tell us a little bit more about the silent suffering, right? Um, because you've gotten older and you've matured and you have consistently said that you understand that there are consequences. So, what does the silent suffering sound like? And inevitably, what does it feel like?
When I went to the USS Stark in 1987, I was on another ship and we had to go. I was a firefighter. Essentially, everybody in the Navy is a firefighter. They was like, we were in the Persian Gulf, the Straits of Hormuz. I've been through the Straits of Hormuz 50, 60 times. And the USS Stark, if you look it up, 1987, they got hit by two missiles. And one missile exploded and it killed 37 men. Well, my fire team had to go on that ship while it was sinking. If you look at it on the internet, it's sinking and it's on fire. We had to go over there and fight the fires and pump the water out so it wouldn't sink. But while we were there, we picked up feet, noses, fingers. We peeled people off of the deck. 37 men died, boiled to death. I picked up men that didn't have any arms. I picked up men that didn't have any faces. Picked up men that didn't have any eyes. And I did that for 12 hours. And I smelled burning flesh for 12 hours. From 1987 up until present day, I still, every now and then, I dream about the man that I picked up. He was like 6'3" or 6'4". He was on the deck, and I was fighting the fire. My friend's like, yo, turn the water off, Walker. You stand over a body. And I look down. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I picked him up. When I went down, my arm hit his mouth and his teeth fell out. And I was like, so I picked him up. And when I picked him up, his head fell forward and he looked at me. His eyes were gone. His face was burned off. And I tried to rotate him and his arm hit me in the chest. It was a bone. It wasn't his arm. This was gone. And I'm like, all you can hear is skin tearing, tendons tearing. So we put him in a body bag. Then we walk up on the port side, the left side of the ship, and there's water. So we walking inside the ship and it's flooded. And I hit something. Another guy came floating up. So when a space is filled with smoke because of the missile bomb exploding, they put on these things called EEBD, emergency escape breathing device. You put it on, and you can turn it on. You can breathe, get out to space. Well, he didn't make it out, and so the thing melted to his face. So when I bumped into him in the water, he came floating up. I grabbed it and pulled it, and his face came off. And so we kept going, and we put him in a body bag. We keep going up to the forward part of the ship, and we turn right. And my friend like, yo, man, I got another body. And I looked, and it was a black dude laying like this. I'm like, so I go, and that's the reason why I'm telling the story. We go and we pull him, pull him off the deck. He had burnt to the deck. The deck was metal. So all of this came off, and his face came off, and then we put him up and it was stuck. The rest of him was stuck to the deck. So you could see the inside of his face. That 12 hours that I pulled the men off, peeled them off the deck, picked up fingers, noses, feet, hands, I learned how to suppress my emotions and feelings. While my fire team was on there rescuing people, other men were on there crying and bleeding. And I looked at them. I was too tired to cry. I couldn't. And so my suffering, silent suffering, started in my childhood with my uncle telling me to be quiet and my cousins. And then when I started recovering these men that had been burned to death, it was like I see a body over here, a body over here. We got a guy in the bed, his legs are burned. He was burned inside his bed. We got another guy over here with a pole in his head, he's dead. It's just bodies and body parts. So now the chaplain says, hey, Walker, we need you to go pick up body parts. So I looked down, it was a hand like this, just a hand. And I just grabbed it like it was no big deal and put it in the bag. Then I went and got more fingers and stuff and a foot. And it was like automatic, no emotion. Mm-hmm. So 1987, May 18th, that's when it happened. August, maybe January 2014 when I started therapy. And then I got out of therapy and I went to apply for my disability. They misdiagnosed me. You don't get anything from narcissistic personality disorder. You don't get a disability for that. I was driving one day, 100 yards from my current apartment, and then I stopped at the light. All of a sudden, I didn't know where I was. Didn't know anybody, nothing. For 20 minutes, I sat in my car, and then I got in, and I turned it off, and I turned it back on after 20 minutes, and my memory came back. So the next day, I called my friend. He said, man, just go back to the hospital. This was in 2018, 3 years after I retired. And they ran tests. I don't remember the test. Well, she said, hey, I'm sorry, but we misdiagnosed you. They didn't even find, however, they didn't find it, my PTSD. But she said, not only do you have PTSD, but you have severe PTSD. So there was another interview for that. And I was telling them about the bodies and stuff and my emotions, and I felt numb and didn't care. All that lack of empathy stuff. It stems from being in certain environments as a kid and then surviving, making it through, not wanting to cry, being okay with other people crying, coming home from the 6th grade, losing our house, not being able to go back to my bed, not having a bed from kindergarten to 7th grade. All these emotions are like, if nobody cared, then why should I care? So that led into my relationships. I don't care. Why should I care? It hurt too bad to care is my point, Tony. And then getting to the Navy and going to rescue those men that were dead, I was already numb. It just made it worse. And then when I didn't get diagnosed, that was in 1987. So I went another 28 years or 20 some odd years, 28 years, because I wound up doing 32 years with those emotions being tucked away, suppressed. So I suffered in silence. I didn't tell anybody ever about what I just told you until I went to therapy. And so in relationships, Leon, you act like you don't care. I don't. But I was suffering in silence, but I didn't know that I was suffering until I went and found out that I had not only have MPD, but I also have anxiety, depression, and severe PTSD. Didn't know that. Then they tell me, oh, you have mood disorder too, Leon. I'm like, how the hell am I? So one of my psychiatrists said, how are you, this is what she said. She said, how are you still alive, Mr. Walker? Because I told her the story I'm telling you. And I was like, dead bodies, whatever. My ex-wife said, every time we move to another city, you go to where it's dangerous at. She was right. We were driving one day, there was a bad car accident. Bad. And I got out the car, ran over to her, the car, laid in the car, and I'm like, no. Called the police. And I don't remember what I told my wife. Do you know a few years ago, this happened in the 90s. She said, Leon, do you remember when you went to the car and that lady was in a bad accident and you came back, you said all her teeth were out? I don't remember. Wow. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember going to the car and getting out the seatbelt. I remember. And there was another car accident where these two boys were, I think they both died. Went up to the car, boom, boom, boom. Police came, they got them out. I saw them like, oh, man, talking. They died. But I didn't feel anything. I learned from on the USS Stark, I got to pick up a hand, a finger, a face, a nose, a body, a head with no eyes. I learned how to do that and not feel. And it stuck with me. I can't separate that not feeling to feeling. When do I feel, So I'm cautious when a woman is crying now. I'm cautious when somebody needs help. I'm cautious when somebody's hurting. I know how to, because I knew how I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? and how that felt. I felt blank. I felt empty. So now I want to feel blank and empty. I want to attach myself to somebody that's hurting and say, okay, give me a hug. Okay, it's okay. It's okay for me to hug you. It's okay for me to feel your pain. But before, nah, I didn't feel no pain. I'm going through life like, too bad for you. Guess what happened to me? That was my bragging point. You know, if I can do it, but I was teaching people how to not have empathy, and that was wrong.
So, with that and where you are today, um, would you say that you are very intentional about applying joy to your life?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. You know what, Tony? Applying joy. I like that. A lot of times I knew going into the relationship that I was going to eventually cheat. I knew. So I had to remove my emotions before the emotions were even started. But when I started the emotions, it was fake. It wasn't me. Just to get her to like me and love me. So when I leave you, you are hurting and not me. Because my mother left me, that destroyed me. I don't want to hurt that. I don't want that no more. And so I believe in joy.
Mm,
I believe in simple things. And you know, as a man with narcissistic personality disorder, any man or woman, there's this sense of entitlement
mm,
that we think we have to have. Because when we were children, things were stripped and we didn't have any entitlement. We didn't have a title, we weren't entitled. Everything was taken from us. So I'm like, now people like they have this sense of entitlement, you know, grandiose and attention and overbearing and anger issues and all this stuff. Yeah, I have all that. And people always ask me, was that? It just seems such a daunting task to have narcissistic personality disorder. No, because I'm always looking for something better or bigger, creating something for more attention. Oh no, I like that. But now I'm older now. I don't need all that. I didn't need it then. I did need it to survive, to think that I was somebody better than I was. You know, a little kid that peed in the bed, was short, teeth used to stick out, didn't like taking baths, teeth were green, mother left him. Who was he gonna become? You gonna get run over or you gonna become a narcissist? You become an empath, that I'm like, no, I'd much rather you call me a butthole or a monster than to call me nice and sweet. I was a nice, sweet little boy. I had been that from 5 to 12 years old. Yep. Getting molested, uncle touching my penis and balls. I was nice. It ain't happening no more. You ain't touching me. You're not gonna molest me no more, you know? But I overdid it. And so I like, I love life, you know? I have a relationship with God. I love God. I recognize God. I spent too much time with the devil, and it almost cost me my life. I had a heart attack in 2013. Yeah, and I was still smoking cigarettes and Black and Miles even after the heart attack. I was in rehab for 4 months. I have a stent in my heart, one of my arteries. One of my arteries was 80% clogged. I took life for granted. And so as a narcissistic man, I'm gonna take your life for granted too. If a heart attack didn't scare me and I'm still smoking, what's gonna scare me? And women still like me. I'm still having sex. I still have various partners, right? This is in 2013. Why should I be scared? And I'm in the Navy. I'm making $120,000 a year. People love me. I'm getting awarded, rewarded. I'm in charge. Everything. You think I'm gonna stop smoking and drinking and partying? I'm the life of the party. But I don't need all of that. I needed it then. I thought I needed it. I didn't. It was what made me feel secure. I feel secure now. And I have a relationship with God, helping people, you know, doing what I would like to do, being peaceful. Because I lived a long, hard life and nobody knew who I really was.
So, Leon, as we wrap up tonight's session at the round table, and I certainly appreciate you, we like to give a little nugget before we leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you could just drop our listeners another nugget that you would give from your experience, and then once again, just tell everyone where they could find you, just in case they wanted to,
Yeah.
watch your videos or, receive your help.
really truly think and believe, and people gonna say this is far fetched, it sounds funny, cliche, whatever. But I think people should start interviewing people. Women do it for the most part. Men, we don't. We just like, oh, she got nice butt. Look at her breasts, man. Look at her lips. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm in. But women like, well, tell me about your parents. Yeah. How do you feel about morals and principles and values? When I was asked that, I'm like, who the hell are you talking to? What? I'm trying to get in your panties, not your doggone book, not a book. But I think we should start doing a dating with in some type of intent. You know, getting to know people, really getting. Whether we're gonna make it or not, I'm gonna get to know you. And if not, if we don't make it, if I ain't your type, if I'm too short, or my teeth are crooked, or my hands are rusty, whatever. All right, let's just be cool. Every now and then, let's go get some crab legs or a steak. I'm that kind of dude. Now, before I'm like, no, don't. I don't want to get rejected. I can't handle that. But and I think people should learn more about people because we lie. People lie all the time, and I learned about lying. Just tell the truth. Ladies say, you don't have to lie. Just tell me the truth. Let me make my own decision. Don't make a decision for me. I heard that a lot. But I think people, let me say mainly women, because I talk to women a lot. Men don't talk to me, but stop ignoring red flags. Y'all wanna love a man till his flag is green. Yeah. Or black and white. Here's a checkered flag, Leon. You win. Yay. You're still sick and dysfunctional. Y'all want to love a dude until you think he can get it right. Can't. When you love him harder, it makes it worse on you because he's going to move even further away, but you're going to stay. You're going to stay. You're going to stay because I want to prove my love to Leon. Y'all have it like that. Y'all stronger than men. I'm a runner. Not anymore. I used to run from strong, loving, nurturing, spiritual women. I was like, you too much for me. Thanks for having sex with me, but I'm gone. Type of thing. I was like, I can't handle her. I'm out. But the damage wasn't that bad, so I could always come back. She's like, no, Leon, you're not ready for me. I'm like, you're right, you're cool. Yeah. But I think knowing people sooner as opposed to later, don't stick around too long with the red flags. Like more than what you see, because some people present a facade. They do. Dress nice, tall, nice chest, nice arms, nice beard, nice teeth, but he's sick. I think women and men, good people, should spend more time with themselves. Attract you in that person, whoever that person may be. Whether you're going to the park, tennis court, the gym, the mall, spend more time in yourself and be more patient with relationships. Don't feel like you're lonely. It's not like you're going to die alone or like they say, buy a cat, die alone. No. Live a longer life, live a healthier life with somebody that you attracted and not somebody that you selected. And that's what I leave on that note. They can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as Leon R. Walker.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Leon, for joining us tonight at the Relevant Roundtable. And as I mentioned earlier, you can meet us at the Relevant Roundtable every third Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube at the Relevant Roundtable Podcast.
Yeah.